Just kind of lay out what the impact is of falling mortgage rates, especially when we're just looking at the average consumer out there, maybe somebody who's been sitting on the sidelines waiting.
Yeah, most families, because things are so tight economically, they're accounting for every single dollar. And what they think is that when interest rates drop, that means I can save more dollars on the price of a house. Specifically, what will my monthly payment be? So when we see news about interest rates dropping, we begin to see a lot more buyers come in. Here's the problem, though, Jason, that nobody's talking about. There's not as much inventory right now, which may push prices up. So while interest rates may be down, house prices may be up. The key here, don't overpay just for a low interest rate.
Yeah, it's like it gets you one way or the other. So you still have to exercise some patience in there and not just go for the carrot that's being dangled in front of you. Let's talk about someone, I mentioned the people on the sidelines. So many people have been trying to wait this market out, Derek, hoping for things to come down. If somebody's been waiting, might this be a good opportunity for them now that we're starting to see those rates come down?
Oh, definitely. Now, keep in mind, when you can buy a house, we find that it impacts positively other people's financial lives. We see they typically feel better about their jobs, their family. It's their piece of the earth. And so you really can't put a price on that. The problem, though, is when we begin to see people jump in too quick and say, man, interest rates have dropped. What if somebody else takes this house? And they make a rash decision. Still take the time to pick out the house you want. And what I tell people is, this may sound kind of crazy, send a letter to the seller, build the case of why they should pick you and your family. They want to buy a story so that they're selling their house to someone they can believe in. And often they may not always take the highest price. They take a good price for a good family.
All right, so Derek, when you're looking for a house, you know how this starts out, where you think you've got this price in mind and you're definitely not going over it. Most people would probably say they don't hear this advice come from someone, so let me just throw this out there. You say that sometimes it can actually be a good idea to buy a little more than you can afford. Can you explain what you mean by that?
Yeah, now this is not right for everybody, so don't cancel me right here, for goodness sakes. But if you're in a job where your income is likely going to go up, a sales position, a bonus position where what you make right now is probably not going to be where you're stuck, you want to buy the house that you might be best suited for maybe 5 or 10 years from now, if that makes sense. Because the key is you're going to only get a return on your money if the bricks that your house is made of, or the siding, whatever it may be, goes up in value. You really can't use that as an investment unless you sell it. So if you're going to make more money, base the decision on what the future may be, not what it looks like today.
Yeah, that's a good point too. And you're trying to think too, if you're planning a family and so forth, is this going to be enough for you when you get into those next several years? Because house hopping and going through this process over and over again can get pretty expensive as well. Let's talk about the biggest mistake that home buyers might be making right now. What would that be?
Jason, this might be surprising to many people, but I tell people don't buy just the newest appliances in the newest house. You want to look at the outside of the house, specifically the neighborhood. If they've ripped out all the trees and planted these little saplings in there, we find the values of those houses long term are lower. I like to say buy an established neighborhood, big trees, and that tends to basically turn into bigger values down the road.
Some smart advice there, Derek. Thank you so much. I know that this is a hard thing for a lot of people to navigate, so any advice is much appreciated for sure.